And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday. And you know what that means? It's time for the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you. And boy, oh boy, we got hit with some heavy hitter news to talk about in this very video today. The return of classic superstars, what? Also, the next Mattel WWE Crowdfund, on top of a lot more news to talk about. We'll dive into all that here in a second, but first, gotta do some housekeeping. Gotta give a special thanks to Jay's Toys and Games for sponsoring this week's video. Of course, as usual, use discount code Kyle, save yourself 15%. I was just there a little bit ago, picking up some stuff you will see in weekly purchases. Gotta get the deal out there, 15% adds up. Head over to jaystoysandgames.com, tell them Kyle sent you. How about that? And of course, Patreon, the month of February is almost over. Last chance to get in on the 2 giveaways this month of February. Traditional giveaway is the Platinum Christopher Reeve Superman. Also, anybody that signs up for $1.99 and above, Claudio Castagnoli Ring of Honor figure. So 2 giveaways this month, of course, over there on Patreon. Patreon early access to everything on this YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel, plus tons of bonus content. This week I'll be on the road. I think I'm going to Kansas City early this week. So shout out to Kansas City, and a Kansas City star is what I are, as one may say. But I will be down there, and I will film this month's Q&A, Patreon exclusive Q&A over there. So I'll be on the lookout for that for Patreon members as well. But a lot going on with the Patreon, but even more going on in the month of March. Of course, March will be the 5-year anniversary of this YouTube channel. We will have a special video with all kinds of surprises. You don't want to miss that one. We are hopeful we get to 50,000 subscribers, getting closer and closer every single day. If we can hit 50,000 by the time that video hits, I will give away 5 different things. 5 giveaways in relation to that. We'll see what ends up happening. I think I've settled on to the big giveaway that we're going to do for the 5-year anniversary, regardless if we hit 50,000 or not. Stay tuned to weekly purchases tomorrow. We might talk about that a little bit more, and much more to come on the 5-year anniversary on this channel. But make sure you do subscribe to this YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel. Let's get there and let's celebrate 5 years. 5 years, can't believe it. Milestone. But speaking of milestone, 2 milestone news things in the wrestling world this week. Very excited for both of them. Don't even know where to start at this point, but let's start with Mattel. That is late breaking as I'm filming this right now. MattelCreations.com. Head over there to their forums. You can vote on the next Mattel crowdfund. Of course, New Gen Era Arena from 3 years ago. Gosh, what is time once again? That did successfully fund, as we did know. Then, of course, the second go-around happened, and it was going to be the Nitro stage. That did not fund. It was going to be followed by the Raw stage. Didn't even get a chance for that one. They laid dormant for a year. Now they're back on the saddle again like a young Aerosmith, I guess is what they are. And we do have an opportunity to vote for the next crowdfund. Very similar to what they did with the Masters of the Universe Origins crowdfund, which was the Snake Layer, which is a whole nother debacle, maybe for another video. We've talked about it enough on the channel as of now. But we do have some options, and you can go over to, like I said, the forums over at Mattel Creations, and you get to vote for 2, your 2 selections, and I'm going to run through them, going to talk about them, and I will tell you the 2 I voted for. Now, it does look like you can vote numerous times, so I don't know how that's going to end up netting out there. Not sure when this voting will end. Not sure as of filming right now, at least. Not sure when the voting will end, and when the winner or winners will be revealed. I'm not exactly sure. Are they going to take 2 winners and then say, okay, everybody vote again, which one you want between the 2? That would be my recommendation if I had my business hat on over there at Mattel. Take the 2 top vote getters and have everybody vote on those 2. I think that would be the way to go. But no word on that. Maybe Mattel revealed. Maybe they'll narrow it down March 6th. We'll talk about Mattel revealed in a little bit here. March 6th is going to be that. Maybe that's where they'll have the final 2. They'll put a vote up, and then maybe at WrestleMania, they will announce the next crowdfund. I guess we'll wait and see what happens there. But here is what you can vote on. So be very interested to hear you guys in the comments, the 2 you voted for as well. So the first one is the Punjabi prison. I think that is a very cool idea. I do have the Jakks set. I've never put it together. I need to put that together one of these days. I do have the Jakks one. I think that is an awesome idea. I don't think it has a chance to win this one. I think it's too deep of a cut. I just really do think. But maybe we can finally get that Ultimate Kali with it. Who knows? But I don't think that one has a chance. But that is one of the first one you can vote for. Then we do have a classic elimination chamber. I think a lot of people might be gearing towards this one. Love the old Jakks one back in the day. I think Mattel could do a fabulous job with that one. We also have a modern elimination chamber. So that would be very confusing to some, I guess. Which way do you go? I guess old school fans want the classic one. Maybe the more new school fans want the modern one. Very tough. You're really splitting hairs on that one. And I think that could affect the vote as a whole, because I think there's people that like the elimination chamber that if there was only one option, they would vote for it. Now that there's two options, you're basically splitting the vote possibly, which could hurt the grandstanding of the voting across the board. So I do like the idea of the elimination chamber. I think this one might be harder just because the vote could be split on this possibly. But classic and modern, you can vote for one of those if you wanted to. Far and away, the one I'm voting for, of course, is going to be the Hell in the Cell. Love Hell in the Cell, of course. Love the idea of this. I think Mattel will knock it out of the park, and my money is this will be the one that wins. It will be the Hell in the Cell. We'll see what happens there. And then last, but certainly not least, is a modern steel cage. A modern steel cage is what it is. A little bit bare bones, but also thinking, putting that business hat on. A lot of people don't like the big spend that a lot of these are. This would be maybe the cheapest option of the bunch right here. So maybe it would be nice to have a little bit of a, $150 price point instead of a $250 price point or whatever this ends up being. So I did vote for Hell in the Cell, and I did vote for the modern steel cage. I really like the idea of the elimination chamber, but if I'm not mistaken, in my Jakks days, that was bigger than the Hell in the Cell playset. I want to keep it a little bit smaller, so shoot me if you want to, but I would like the original steel cage or the modern steel cage and the Hell in the Cell. Now, the big question about all this as well that isn't put anywhere in there, now, does this include a ring? Or are they saying, hey, we've pumped out a Raw ring, a Nitro ring, a New Gen ring. We've pumped out all these rings over the last couple of years. We're just adding to put onto your ring here. Is that what these are? Are these add-ons for the ring? Or are they throwing the whole kit and caboodle at us and we're going to have to buy a whole nother ring once again? I hope the option is, there's two options. That's my hope. I hope they say, hey, you can buy the whole kit and caboodle. Here's a bare bones standard ring you can get with this one. Or if you want to, let's say Hell in the Cell wins, it's just for the Hell in the Cell and whatever other tiers. I mean, maybe there's some ultimates along with it. Maybe there's some accessories. I'm sure across the board on all of these. But I would love an option to buy without a ring, because a lot of us collectors that have been collecting Mattel very hard, and there's a lot of us out there, probably you watching this, we don't want any more rings. We're good on rings. Give us ring skirts. Give us ring mats. We're cool with that mixed in here, but we don't want new rings. Now, I would say to Mattel that, hey, if you're not going to sell a ring separately or have it include ring or without ring, you got to have a ring up there for the people to buy. There's somebody that maybe is just starting collecting that want to get on this. Well, I'd buy this Hell in the Cell, but there's no ring with it. So I think the answer to that is have a generic ring, a ring up there, just living freely up where they're on Mattel Creations. And then maybe the ultimate, the Hell in the Cell, the Punjabi, whatever gets voted for, you have ring mats, ring aprons, you could transform one of your rings. I think that's the best bet, but I didn't read anywhere in there. It is still early, of course, but does rings come with this? I guess we'll find out sooner rather than later. But my gut tells me Hell in the Cell will win this one. But it'll be very interesting to see how this nets out. It'll be really interesting to hear your guys and especially you gals' feedbacks. What, Todd McFarlane? You have no feedback. You don't know what any of these rings are. That makes sense from Todd from the couch over there. He's just clueless on wrestling. Hit the bricks, McFarlane. That's what I'm going to say. But very interesting. Would love to hear your commentary in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on this one right here. Whoa. Stop the clock. Late breaking Mattel creations, of course, crowdfunding news. As the day went on, some answers came of stuff we talked about in this very video. And it did come from Action Figure Attack. Good friend of the channel, Steve Osier over there at Mattel. He did put in his comments that no ring will be included. This is just an add-on cage, chamber, Punjabi prison, whatever you want to call, whatever it might end up being. That is all we will get. It will not be a ring included. So that answers some of the questions right there. I still feel it would be a good idea to have an evergreen ring, a plain Jane ring on the website at all times for people to buy if they want to. Pass on it if you don't need it. There's always new collectors coming, because if it gets to be a window where there's no ring available, but you can get a Hell in the Cell, what do? You're stuck without a ring. So I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening there, but it looks like all we're going to crowdfund is the cage, the add-ons. Have to imagine there will be other tiers, maybe ring skirts that we've been asking for, different ropes, possibly some figures. All will come true in the future there, but that's some late-breaking news as we go on through the day here. As we talked Mattel revealed, might as well wrap it into Mattel right now. Thank you to Mattel this week. Check out the video on the channel. They sent me a Mattel revealed box to get a little excitement going over there for the Mattel revealed on the 6th of March. And then this week they did show Braun Breaker. And it looks like we got some Uso action coming once again, but it looks like probably Ultimates, you'd have to imagine, but it looks like all will be revealed on those two come March 6th. They did put a Cody weight belt in that package. You have to imagine we're going to get a Cody Rhodes Ultimate. My gut tells me right now there's going to be a Cody Ultimate from WrestleMania last year where he had the cool skull mask going on. Maybe that'll be a Mattel Creations Ultimate exclusive like they've done in the past, and it will be revealed on the 6th. So we'll see what happens right there. I can see that coming down the line. I think we have to really dial our expectations for Mattel revealed. I think we'll see some stuff, but it's not going to be the full kit and caboodle we'll get about a month later at WrestleMania and even at San Diego Comic-Con. If we remember last year, they announced the Coliseum Collection, Ted DiBiase and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I could see them maybe announcing the next Coliseum Collection at this, as well as the Cody Ultimate that I'm guessing will be a Creations exclusive, maybe a couple other Ultimates, and who knows, maybe they'll give more talk on Great Muta in the Superstars, and we'll talk about that here in a second as well. But I would say they're not going to throw the whole kit caboodle at us on the 6th. Have to imagine a lot of that talk will be about the crowdfunding ring or cages, I guess whatever it ends up totally being here. I have to think that'll be a big part of that as well. So I would like to see Mattel Creations take on the Mattel Creations revealed event on the 6th. You have the two finalists. They say to everybody, vote now. We're going to leave the voting open through the rest of March, whatever it may be. And at WrestleMania week, of course, we will announce the winner of the next crowdfund. I would like to see them do that business path. We'll see what ends up happening there. But there's a little Mattel revealed going on just around the corner, just a couple of weeks away. February is almost over at this point. Now, that's very exciting news, but the most exciting news here on this channel, of course, myself being just a classics guy, and Todd, by default, you're a classics guy as well. Mark Summers, you're a really classics guy. You're in your 70s now, Mark Summers. I keep harping on that. I just can't believe it. Mark Summers in his 70s, both of those guys on the couch. But the big news this week, Classic Superstars coming back. What? Are you kidding me? Playing all the hits right there. I want the Classic Superstars back. I want Powertown to be the Classic Superstars. They are having their struggles, has been well documented on this channel. But will Ringside Collectibles, yes, good friends of the channel, use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. Ringside Collectibles coming in with Ringside Classic Superstars uncensored Classic Superstars. What is this going to be? I have absolutely no idea, but I am here for it. I want a front row seat to that party. What is this going to be? Is it going to be Ruthless Aggression style figures? Deluxe Aggression style figures? Will it be their bell-to-bell style figures? Are they going to come in extra hot and do a Mattel Jazzware style figures, kind of like Zombie Sailor's doing? I guess all will be revealed February 26th via Ringside Collectibles. But to say that I am excited would be an understatement, because just throwing those words Classic Superstars in there, you know that gets me all fired up. We're almost to the 1-year anniversary of my Classic Superstars book coming out. Almost 700 pages going over the entire line. Might have to make part 2 with these being added to it. Now, what I want is a Classic Superstar style packaging. Give us the old school Jakks figures. I think they can get licensed to those. We see Figure Toy Collectibles doing a half and half style version. I don't know what you call those, but I think John at Ringside and the whole Ringside team, they know what they could do with those. So be very interesting to find out. My gut tells me, though, they would have different kind of articulation. I think they'd be more Mattel scale. But if they could bring back the Classic Superstars line, maybe this is a partnership with Jazzwares. Who knows what could be happening? What if they bring that back, and what if they use this for talent like Hercules, Dino Bravo, Macho Man, Randy Savage? Some of these classic talents we're getting in retro form. What if Ringside is using Jazzwares, saying, hey, Jazzwares, we want to partner with you guys. We want to use your AEW molds, and we're going to come back with Classic Superstars. Long story, I put the hint in the book. I don't know if you guys read it. I haven't got a lot of feedback on it. So what are we doing, people? We just looking at the pictures, not reading the book. But if you go to my Classic Superstars book, you go to my interview with Jeremy Padower about that, we talk about the return of Classic Superstars. He says, never say never, with a twinkle in his eye when we did that. Could this be the return via Jazzwares and Ringside working together? Obviously off the beaten path as a Ringside collectible exclusive. And one of those lines where now you can sign the Hercules, because maybe Hercules can't get in the AEW line. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Dino Bravo can't get over there. But could Ringside possibly? I'm putting the conspiracy hat on. Somebody call Ventura.
Wonder if they're watching your every move. Cell phones, internet, surveillance. Think about it. Post your...
But could this be what we're seeing? Could we see AEW-style bodies with some of this classic talent that doesn't make sense for anything Ring of Honor, AEW, but to get those figures out there? Man, oh man, would that be a game changer or would that be a game changer? I know not everybody loves the Jazzware-style figures, but you put them in a classic superstar-style packaging. You give us the Hercules, Dino Bravos, the Rugged Ronnie Garvins, the Macho Man Randy Savage, the Road Warriors, Hacksaw Jim Duggins, Demolitions, some of those guys, some of those classic guys. And I have to imagine a lot of these people are already signed. I have talked to Ringside, breaking news right here. Will they be up and running February 26th for immediate shipment? Or will the pre-order just go up on February 26th? Or will it just be a reveal? All will be detailed out there on the 26th. My daughter's birthday, shout out to Elle. Elle, that's going to be the birthday present for you. There's a new Classic Superstars line coming. But that's going to be a very interesting turn of events there. I want a front row seat to that party, of course, being just a Classics guy once again. But this could be an absolute game changer for a lot of collectors, especially classic collectors over the years. So fingers crossed for Ringside. I know some people are saying it's just going to be a continuation of the bell-to-bell line. I don't think that's the case, but I guess I don't know anything. We'll see what ends up happening there. But fingers crossed, we could be on the cusp of something really, really fun here in the next couple of weeks. Not just with the Mattel revealed, the new crowdfunder, but also this possible new Classic Superstars line. So playing all the hits here early in the toy news, but guess what? There's even more toy news this week. I referenced it earlier. Superstars, Great Muta coming, and he's bringing friends. He's bringing a Chase edition as well. Of course, we know the Walmart exclusive, the most frustrating line to collect of all time. And for me personally, I'm going to have to pick up 6 of these Great Mutas. I need 1 of each mint on card, and then I'm going to need 2 of each ones to open to display both different looks there. So Great Muta fever, it's sweeping the nation. You have to imagine we're going to get a main event Great Muta in the future, possibly another Ultimate Edition maybe down the line as well. Superstars is in the books. Have to imagine maybe a retro style Great Muta in the future as well. Get me a Terry Funk retro. We need a Terry Funk retro. I can see those being paired together. Be going back to the old school WCW, NWA days as well. Would love to see that, but Muta's coming. Looks absolutely amazing. But for me, like I said, I'll have 4 loose ones, 2 mint on card ones in my collection. That's a lot of Muta coming through. I have to imagine we'll see more of that at Revealed and definitely, of course, at WrestleMania weekend from Mattel. But it wasn't all WWE this week. There was some AEW news around this week as well. We did hear, and it moved fast. Of course, Saturday is a weekly purchase, or as toy news goes up, Sunday weekly purchases, of course. Grand Slam Australia came. Well, it just missed my video here, but there was a 1 of 2,000 Tony Storm figure that was available at AEW Grand Slam. Quickly sold out, however. Pro Wrestling Tees did have the extras over there at Shop AEW. Those have since sold out as well. I did grab 2 of those Tony Storms. I always like these kind of things. I think it is fun. I think it is neat. But that did come and go really quick this week, just in between the toy news videos. That one's out there. I guess eBay is going to be your best bet. Supposedly shipping in the next month or so. We'll see what happens with that one. And we talked about it last week. Well, we officially know what's going on this week. It is the Ring of Honor Jazzwares Hardy Boys Vault exclusive. That will go up on the 26th as well. A lot happening on the 26th this week. But if you're looking for Ring of Honor Hardy Boys, which I'm shocked are even coming out at this point, they've been gone for quite some time from AEW, but apparently they can still get these figures here, and I think a lot of us are here for that as well. So 26, mark your calendars for that one. A lot going on. You got the ringside announcement on the 26th. You got the Ring of Honor Hardy Boys on the 26th. Mattel revealed voting. There's just a lot going on. It's hard to keep track of at this point. Getting into some other wrestling stuff this week. How about those big rubber guys? You know me, I love my guys big and full of rubber. We just unboxed the brand new Ric Flair yesterday on the channel, so make sure you check that out if you did miss that. But we did know this was happening eventually, or maybe I just knew. I don't know. One way or the other, we knew, or I knew. Either way, whatever it matters. Demolition is coming back to the big rubber guys. You've heard Matt Cardona mention it before. If he could just go back and redo Axe and Smash, he would. Well, he did get the chance, and they brought Crush along for the party. Very fitting. They got this sign. They rushed the pre-order up. The pre-order is going on right now over at Collect Major if you want to get in on this one, because Demolition did re-sign with WWE, so they wanted to make sure they could get that going on before all that happened. But we do got Demolition, 3 Demolition members up right now. Speak now or forever hold your peace, as they're going back to WWE and the Mattel line. Very cool. Definitely pickups for me. Easy pickups all day long. This week on the channel, we did unbox the brand new Nerd Closet Matt Maniacs figure, the Steiner Brothers and the Legion of Doom. I was blown away. Check out those reviews if you missed them. I thought, okay, yeah, another retro line. Very cool. For the most part, these figures are absolutely amazing. The ear's a little bit goofy, maybe I would say, but all in all, a very, very solid set. Of course, about 4 hours after my video did go live, they announced we're reopening Series 1 pre-orders. And I know that gets a lot of people worked up, myself included, because if a company tells me, here's the pre-order window, act now or forever hold your peace, it's like fool me once, shame on you. You know the whole saying there. We're getting that more and more every single day. We've seen Zombie Sailor. We've seen now the Maniacs. We've seen Power Town multiple times. Why pre-order these things all at once when you could just basically wait till they're in stock, it seems like. So I don't know. It's always a tough business decision. I've had a couple of messages for people that were pretty worked up that said, hey, I didn't want to buy all these early. If I knew I could just pre-order later, I would have done that. It's one of those things, as I always say, we got to vote with our wallet at the end of the day. You got to choose it. Maximum Spider-Man last week, we talked about that. A lot of people are up in arms about that. Well, it's sold out everywhere. So what does that mean? It means people liked it, I guess. I mean, you just got to justify it with your own wallet. That's the only way these companies will hear things. But I think FOMO kicks in for a lot of people. We're all guilty of it from time to time. And it is what it is. So Matt Maniac's back open, upsetting a few people out there. We'll see what that affects anything. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will. We'll see. But if you want those, if you missed out on them, definitely worth checking out the videos, though, to see if those figures are for you. But very, very fun, very quality item I can attest to in my unboxings there. Not done with the wrestling news this week. Jack Tunney and Public Enemy went up on President's Day for Zombie Sailor toys. A very cheap Jack Tunney, which makes sense. And it makes sense him going up on President's Day as well. Not a lot of us needed more than one Jack Tunney, but for around a $20 price point, I'd say that's a pretty good deal out there. So head over to Zombie Sailor Toys if you need Public Enemy and another Jack Tunney in your collection. We also saw this week Epic Toys finally answering the prayers of one Kyle and one good friend of the channel, David C. Anderson. We've been wanting this for a long time. He may not be the flashiest wrestler, but he stole both of our hearts in our childhood. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Epic Toys. We're talking about rugged Ronnie Garvin, finally getting an action figure. If I'm not mistaken, he has never had a figure ever. Get him in that Ringside Classic Superstars line. It was a moment in time, and I loved rugged Ronnie Garvin because the name Ronnie was my grandpa's name. I was like, oh, he's got the same name as my grandpa. And my grandpas are all tough. They all have that grandpa strength, you know, especially the old school grandpas that were fighting in the World War IIs and the Korean Wars and stuff. Those guys were tough. And my grandpa was one of those guys. He was a welder. He was a tough guy. So have to imagine rugged Ronnie Garvin struck a chord with me a little bit just because of that. But I love Ronnie Garvin. I was a little kid. His feud with Greg the Hammer Valentine, turning the ankle or the shin guard around. I love that stuff back then. You were a kid eating up all the stuff. Of course, his time beating Flair, I missed that as a kid. But I remember him in WWF and then going back and seeing that stuff. But those Hands of Stone, that lethal punch, there's a lot to love about Ronnie Garvin, and he's coming to Epic Toys. This is cool. This is pretty warranted. I could see repaints in different trunk colors. I could see different towel colors. I could see him coming with a referee shirt. I think there's a lot of meat on the old Ronnie Garvin bone. However, not extremely toyetic. We'll see how that one ends up doing for them. But very interested to see where that goes in the future. We also saw Title Run Toys this week show off the images of in-package carded images of Adam Bomb. So those are around the corner as well. Brian Clark, of course. We also saw Junk Shop Dog Bronson Reed Jonah from Junk Shop Dog coming. Obviously, they signed him well over a year ago before he re-signed with the WWE. But apparently, just because of how it was signed beforehand, he can apparently release this. So that will be coming in the future as well. We also saw something on Entertainment Earth. I did post about it on socials if you checked it out. Tamashi Nations came with a pretty cool for figure photographers out there. It's like a corner of the ring and 2 flight stands to put guys in action battles. I thought that was kind of cool, and it's not a crazy price point. Of course, over there at Entertainment Earth, use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. But I wanted to comment on that a little bit there. I thought that was an interesting turn. And the last bit of real wrestling news this week, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Of course, one of the many people where people in the comments every day say, hey, anybody ever tell you look like Hacksaw Jim Duggan? Anybody tell you look like AJ Styles? Anybody tell you look like the Cowardly Lion? Anybody tell you look like the Big Show? Anybody tell you look just like me? Anybody ever tell you look like my second best friend in high school? I get something like that every single day. It's a wild life I live, that's for sure. But Hacksaw did re-sign a Legends deal, and that just proves my point once again. That is the name of the game, and we're going to continue to see that, I think, as time progresses. There's so much money to be made in signings, third-party posters, action figures, T-shirts, different things like that. we're seeing people like Hacksaw Jim Duggan be under a Mattel contract, let that lapse, and then he works the circuit. He goes, I'll get some major bendies, I'll get some big rubber guys, I'll get some posters, I'll get some autograph signings, I'll get some of this kind of stuff. Once that money starts drying up, guess what? I'll take that WWE payday, I'll work that WWE circuit, do that for 2 to 5 years, whatever it may be. Then I'll go back out and I'll work that circuit again, and we're just seeing a constant revolving door. Dare I say a lazy Susan. We're seeing a lazy Susan is what we're seeing here, folks. But we're seeing that with Hacksaw going back to WWE. We're seeing that with Demolition going back to WWE. I could also see, in the future, Macho Man coming back, Legion of Doom coming back, some of the Ric Flairs of the world coming back. It's just going to be that kind of circle. Rick Martel, I have to imagine Rick Martel getting all this stuff from the third parties, making all that money. He'll come back to WWE. We're just going to continue to see that kind of stuff. Roddy Piper, all these guys, all these classic wrestlers, their families want to capitalize on their name. I mean, they earned it in a lot of ways. And I'm pretty sure Roddy Piper would want his family capitalizing than somebody else. So it makes sense there as well. But Hacksaw back in the WWE family under a Legends deal once again. And then the last bit of quasi-wrestling news, I guess we'll call it here. Rush Collectibles announcing George Washington, a president figure. And I could see him running this. I mean, if he can put out all these figures, you could make one of every single president. How would that be? Have to get my wife Angie in here as one of my wife's secret talents. And let me tell you, she's got a lot of talents, guys. She's a talented individual. One thing she can do, she can list every single president in order. Yes, in order without cheating or anything. We're going to have her do that on the channel one of these days. And I'll make sure she closed her eyes so nobody can say, well, her eyes were open, she was reading something, or I'll put a blindfold on her or something. I don't know. But it's an amazing talent she has. Always wanted her to meet Bob Backlund, because Bob would say, I'm not going to give you an autograph unless you can name all the presidents. I'm like, oh, she could be the ringer. She could get this done. But shout out to my wife, Angie. Shout out to the Rush Presidents, George Washington, good friend of the channel, My Damn Toys. You know he's picking this one up. He's got George Washington tattooed on his body. He has to pick this one up. So do got that going on right there. So a lot of wrestling news, as I said, but there's even more news. Yes, more news, Todd McFarlane. But Todd, you know what Jerry Reed always says? Exactly. It is a short time to get there. That's exactly right. But we're back here, of course, with the second half, back half, whatever you want to call it, of the toy news this week. And how about we head over to Marvel Legends, a very controversial brand this day and age, as I did mention that Spider-Man earlier. This week, more controversy. Of course, they had a live stream, and a lot of people a little bit disappointed. I think they were hoping for some different stuff. Instead, primarily, we got to hear about Spider-Man and the Game Reverse. Now, historically, Game Reverse has been more of a GameStop type thing and maybe an occasional figure in a traditional line. But for the most part, we kind of think of that with GameStop, but it looks like this one is going everywhere. From the Spider-Man 2 game, you guys know I'm not a gamer. As much as I'd like to be, there's just not enough hours in the day for me to do any video game stuff. But we did get quite the rundown of figures, and we'll run down all this stuff we did hear about here. First thing we're going to start with is the Kingpin Deluxe Amazon. Got to reach out to dear old dad. My dad, of course, he loves a Kingpin figure. He might want this Kingpin, this time in a black suit. Looks like we may have a new head sculpt for this one, but a lot of reuse. A lot of got to get the most out of your molds, but we do have this. It is an Amazon exclusive. I definitely want to pick this one up. I love a big figure. I love Kingpin. Even if I have two of them in white already, I'm going to move and find a different shelf for this one in black. Very cool to see that one there. We also saw, gotta get the most out of your molds. Once again, we saw Venom. Of course, this was the movie Venom figure, basically redone for the Game Reverse, some new different things. Not a huge fan of this Venom body. I love Venom. Oh, I know you love Venom, Todd McFarlane. Nobody loves him more than you, I think. But I love Venom, but not my favorite incarnation. But once again, I love Venom, so I will probably end up picking this one up right here. But then getting into the meat potatoes a little bit, we did see the Spirit Spider. Don't know this character. Once again, probably from the game, a little Ghost Rider mashup. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but that is going to be a Walmart exclusive in March. Have to imagine part of their March Collectors Con. They do that 2 or 3 times a year. Have to imagine that'll be a pre-order for that, so we'll stay tuned to Walmart on that. Getting into the traditional line here, we got a lot of Miles Moraleses. We got him in an upgrade suit. We also got Peter Parker in a black suit, which is symbiote Spider-Man to me, but apparently it's Peter Parker black suit. We also saw anti-Venom suit Peter Parker, part of this wave. Once again, Miles Morales in his Brooklyn 2099 suit. These are all going right over my head. I don't know any of these suits right here. We also saw Black Cat Felicia Harding, of course. That is going to be probably the star of the wave for me personally. We'll see how it looks in person. Miles Morales' America suit. Once again, don't know about that, but another Miles Morales. So a lot of Spider-Man stuff. if you're loving that Spider-Man, well, let's be honest. People love Spider-Man. He's one of the top 5. He could be Mount Rushmore, Todd McFarlane. Who's your Mount Rushmore of superheroes? Okay, Spawn is number 1. Okay, fact checks out. Okay. Then Batman. Okay. Spider-Man. Okay. And who's your last one? Oh, Redeemer Spawn. That's your 4th. That's the 4th biggest superhero of all time. Redeemer Spawn. Not Ninja Spawn. Medieval Spawn. Hamburger Head Spawn. Todd McFarlane from the couch. He's an interesting duck. We love him over there, wiggling those toes all day long. But quite the heavy hitter Spider-Man announcement. If you love Spider-Man, you're all in on this one. I can see a lot of people picking and choosing, and a lot of people saying, hey, I don't collect the Gamerverse, so they can pass. That's not a bad thing either if you can pass on this. So up to you. As we always say, you got to vote with your wallet. You got to justify it to yourself. That's the way it goes. If you like it a lot and it's worth $25 to you, guess what? You got your money out of it. A lot of people complained about that McFarlane. Yeah, they did. I can't believe it either. That McFarlane Joker talk show set. People complain all day long. That's not worth the money. It's not worth the money. To me, it was. I am getting fun out of that every single day. Every single day. If you follow my social medias, I do something with that Joker set every single day. I'm pretty sure I'm getting my value out of that, but I can see it. Somebody buys it, puts it in a box, puts it in a closet forever. Yeah, you're not getting your value out of it. I totally understand that, but that's where you got to choose what's right for you, and nobody should choose what's right for you but you. That is sure. Sure, take advice from me and your neighbor Joe and Todd McFarlane from the couch. Take that advice all day long. But at the end of the day, it's your money. You work hard for your money. I don't care what you do. You work hard for it. Spend it how you want to spend it. That's the rule. That's your pro tip of the day, ladies and gentlemen, right there. But we weren't done. We had just a couple of things left. We got a 2-pack. Looks to be a fan channel exclusive. We're going X-Force. We're going X-23 and Warpath. Very cool to get this Warpath. I think it was in the old Toy Biz Marvel Legends, or no? I think it was in the regular Hasbro Marvel Legends, but maybe it was a Toys R Us exclusive way back when. X-23, it feels like just came out a year ago, but it's probably been 4 or 5 years at this point. But very cool to get these two in a box once again. But man, very Spider-Man heavy for Marvel Legends this week. And then we're going to finish it off, Todd, with you from the couch. Another quiet week from McFarlane Toys. What's going on over there? There's some shenanigans going on over at McFarlane Toys. Something's up. Something's up, and I smell it. It smells funny. I don't know what that is. It could be your feet. Mark Summers is going to have you hound dogging Todd McFarlane over there, trying to get down to business. I wonder if he's laying in wait for Toy Fair, of course, or is there other things rumbling? Could there be some changes in the air? We'll have to find out here. But Todd, you came in hot this week, announcing last week Killing Joke, Amazon exclusive Joker, and then this week saying it's been delayed. It's been delayed. It's not coming out quite yet. Is what it is. I told before, I'm passing on this one. Not enough meat on the bone for me to dive into this one again. But it has been delayed over there for whatever reason. Todd's not talking. You said one of these things. So it is what it is. We also saw an Amazon Batman camo tumbler exclusive solicited again. I could have sworn this already came out. I don't buy these. This isn't what I'm looking for out of McFarlane. I know it's crazy. Not looking for it, but the tumbler is coming back out there. So vote with your wallet once again. But a quiet week over there for old Todd and on the couch is what it is. You got to have some quiet weeks. But 2 weeks in a row, something's up. Something's up. Something's coming. Something's coming. Stay tuned, I guess, what we'll say there. But that's not it. Of course, we got to turn our attention to the album of the week. All right, we finish off the toy news with album of the week. And album of the week this week is from one of my all-time favorite artists. There was a good decade span where I probably listened to this album, or at least a song from this album, almost every single day. And this week I revisited. I've had to take a break from some of these artists that I've listened to so many times, and now it feels a little bit fresher again. But I've probably listened to this album 500 times in my life, at least. What are we talking about this week? It's George Harrison. Yes, that George Harrison, the greatest Beatle of all time. No doubt in my mind on that. It is his first solo album, depending who you ask. He may have had 2 solo albums before during his time in the Beatles. Don't know if I count those so much, but I guess technically those would be it. But it is All Things Must Pass, the triple album back in the day. Easily, a lot of people would say the greatest George Harrison album of all time. What, Todd McFarlane? No, it's your 4th favorite? Oh my God, your 5th favorite? Okay, I'm going to put Todd on it now. Todd, you tell me here, what are your top 4 favorite George Harrison albums of all time? Okay, George Harrison's solo album from, it was 78, 79 in there? Okay, George, it's just called George Harrison, of course. Dark Horse, I love Dark Horse, so that's your number 2. That's a good one. I like that one a whole lot. Extra Texture, oh my gosh, it's got You on there. I love that song, You, of course. That's your 3rd favorite. Okay, what's your 4th favorite, Todd? Oh, Cracker Box Palace. Well, I welcome you to Cracker Box Palace. I've been expecting you, of course, Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane, Wild. I could see maybe Dark Horse being number one. I love that Dark Horse album, but I think you have to go to All Things Must Pass. It is just a landmark album. Todd put it in number 5. He's a wild man, as we know. But if you've never heard the album All Things Must Pass, you've heard the All Things Must Pass song, I'm sure. What is Life? You've probably heard. Wah Wah, Isn't It a Pity? Beware of Darkness. There's so many great songs on that album. Absolutely love it. I love George Harrison. Like I said, he's my favorite Beatle of all time. This album has been remixed, remastered, re-released a dozen times probably. But I definitely would say if you've never heard it, track it down. I love some George Harrison. It is classic. It just kind of came into my rotation on my work travels this week. I said, I'm sticking with it. I'm not jumping around. I'm sticking with this whole album. And I'm glad I did because it had been a while since I've heard All Things Must Pass from George Harrison. That is the album of the week, and that is a busy toy news this week. Be interested to hear your thoughts on what this classic superstars line is going to be, who you'd like to realistically see in that line as well. And then I'd love to hear your 2 top votes for the Mattel Creations exclusive ring, maybe, plus cage set, whatever it ends up being. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. A lot of stuff to digest this week. A lot of money going to be spent in the future, I think, as well. So we'll stay tuned for all that on weekly purchases. And of course, tomorrow's weekly purchases as well. But there it is. That's the toy news. Once again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down low. Don't forget to like this video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're near and dear, close to 50,000. Need your guys and gals' help. Check it out if you have not already. Check out ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. Don't forget the Patreon for the giveaways, all the bonus content, all the extra stuff over there. Do appreciate the support. Sir Paul64 on the X, the _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, and now on TikTok. And you know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling over to Todd on the couch.
We're going to the end of the line.